I made over $16,000 with my Skool communities in just 92 days. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact roadmap that I followed to get there. Now, the very first thing that I did was coming up with the idea for my communities. Now, to do this, I just simply combined my passion with my experience. In this case, what I really like doing is I really like working with technology and with businesses, and more specifically, merging the two together to unlock a whole new world of possibilities. On top of that, I have had a lot of experience with Skool and with high level through my years of doing social media marketing and growth operating, so it was only natural for me to combine both of them. Now, on top of this, I also realized that there was a huge pain and a huge gap to be filled inside of Skool with Go High Level. So I've positioned myself to become the go-to person when it comes to using Go High Level for Skool. Once I had this initial idea down, what I went on to do was nailing the target avatar. Now, the way that I did this was by sitting down and describing step by step who my target avatar was. This included where they hung out, how they communicated, what they were doing, what their pains were, what their dream outcomes were, and all of that good stuff. What this ultimately allowed me to do was have a very good idea of who my target avatar was, and that allowed me to start testing. Once I had that target avatar in my head, the next thing that I did was think about an offer and nailing the offer down. Now, one thing that I was very keen on doing with this Skool community and with this business was to not build anything that required a lot of time and a lot of money without market validation. So what I went ahead and did was a minimum viable product. Now, inside of the startup world, this is a very common word, and it essentially means the most basic version of any product or service that you are going to offer so that you can test out its most basic and essential features to see if there's a product market fit or not. Because at the end of the day, what you guys need to do is give the market what it wants. Unless you're Steve Jobs, you're not going to be able to change markets. So what you need to do is get your ass out there, build a minimum viable product, and start pushing as much traffic to it as possible. Test it out as much as possible and see if it's what the market wants or not. Now, the way that I went ahead and I did this was by observing and asking questions on one-on-one calls. This allowed me to have a lot of contact with different types of people, and all throughout these calls, I observed the pains that they weren't telling me about, but that they showed. And of course, I also made to ask questions about what they wanted and what they needed. And step by step, call after call, I started making lists of all of these things and listing them from most common to least common. Now, of course, even if something is very common, unless there's a high pain point associated to it, it's unlikely that people will take action on it. And so the first thing that I did was rank them from most common to least common. And then I went down the list and started looking at which ones were the most painful and which ones were the least painful. And starting with the most painful, I started developing my offer. Once I had that, I started repeating the process, driving even more traffic, getting even more feedback, listing these things again, and repeating over and over again. And that's when I eventually landed on my paid offer. What I did was that I took what I offered for free, offered part of it for free, basically the information, and I sold the implementation. In my case, what that meant was that I taught people how to use Go High Level with Skool, but unless they have high level, they're not able to implement it. And that's where my premium community comes into play. If they wanted to implement it, then they had to upgrade to my premium community. Now, once I had my premium community, I still repeated the same process. As people came in, I got on calls with them. I tried to understand what they thought of it. I tried to see if they needed anything else. And I started making that very same list to see how I could further develop my offer. Now, all of this is very good, but for you to be able to test everything out, you need to be getting members. Now, for you to do this, you cannot skip the second step, which is the avatar. This is extremely important because, as I mentioned, unless you know exactly who your target avatar is, you will not know, first of all, where they hang out, and second of all, you will not know how to approach them best. If you have 2 or 3 different client avatars, then it's going to be a mess because you're going to try talking to all 3 of them, and odds are you're not going to be able to resonate with any of them. So focus on one sole avatar. Once you have your avatar nailed down, you need to be focused on becoming the most valuable person. What I mean by valuable is be keen on genuinely helping people out, going out of your way to help people, to answer their questions, to get on calls with them, to help them and solve their problems, and to just show up everywhere and be valuable. You need to do this and you need to show up all day, every day. If you do this correctly, you'll start reaching a level of omnipresence. And what I mean by this is that no matter what day, no matter what time, no matter where your target avatar is, they will start seeing you absolutely everywhere. I'm doing this and I get people tell me, Afonso, I see you absolutely everywhere. Now, as you're showing up every day, you're going to produce content. Now, the best thing for you to do, be it if it's here on YouTube, on Instagram, on Skool, in communities, whatever it may be, look at copying what works. Now, what I mean here is not by any means to plagiarize and just steal other people's work. It's to see what's working and seeing how you can adapt and throw your twist on it to make it better and make it your own. If it's worked and it's gotten engagement and views for someone else, odds are that it's very likely to also work for you. Just make sure to, again, throw your own twist onto it. And very important, testing is everything. You need to be testing a lot of different things and seeing what works. Once you find out what works, you need to double down and focus on what works. Now, on the side, of course, you can still keep testing. That's what I do. I see that my Skool posts work very well, but I am still trying on YouTube. I am still trying through other means to get even more eyeballs onto what I offer and getting more members. Now, by this point, I had a very good idea of what worked, what I could offer and how I could make money and how I could attract clients. So what I had to do was I went away and just focused on scaling as much as possible. Now, I'm only 92 days into this process, and so far I am at $3,615 in monthly recurring revenue. So if I completely stop today, I would still be making $3,615 because I offer software. Now, the main reason that I got so far in such short periods of time, no, it was not because I was running ads. It was not because I had content, and it was not because I had a large following, because I really don't. What it was is that I went absolutely all in. All day, every day, I was just in my community, in my business, grinding away, being as consistent as I possibly can, and making 1% improvements every single day, because you'd be surprised. The law of compounding is a wonderful thing. So if you show up every single day and you put in the work and you're motivated, and you improve even by only 1% every single day, trust me, you will get far. And again, I took what worked and I just doubled down on it. My Skool posts were working, so I just focused on making as valuable as a post as I could, and I focused on posting that every single day. And another thing that really changed the game with this new community and business that I've recently made is having a long-term vision. You see, before this, I had all of these other businesses that I tried. One thing that was missing though, was that I was sacrificing the long-term for short-term gains. A very good example of this is that before, if I got on a sales call and I wasn't able to close on someone on that sales call, I was extremely disappointed and I pretty much just gave up on them. Of course, I followed up with them every so often, but I was very pushy trying to get the sale right there and then. And to be honest with you, it just simply doesn't work like that. Especially if you don't have a large following or a following that has been with you for a long time, people do not trust you. So why the hell would they even buy from you? It's the same thing with me. People did not know me, so why would they trust buying me after being on a 30-minute call with me? It just doesn't work like that. And so now what I'm focused on is genuinely helping people out, being as valuable as possible, and becoming known as the go-to guy. And what that means is that my calls inside of the free community that I own are not sales calls. They are pure value calls. If I do not think that the person I'm talking to could benefit from what I offer, I don't even go there. I don't even talk about it. I simply focus on giving as much value as possible to help them and giving them the best possible action steps so that they start trusting me. They see that I'm not trying to be pushy, that I truly care about them, that I'm genuinely wanting them to succeed and I want to help them out. And what will happen is that I'll follow up with them several times per week over the next few weeks. And when the time comes that they're ready for what I offer, more often than not, people come back to me without me even having to pitch anything. It's literally happened today. I first had a call with this one member inside of my premium community 2 months ago. At that time, when we had a chat, that person was in no shape or form ready to jump into my premium community and make use of everything that I had to offer. So what I did was that I gave him some very good actionable steps. He went ahead and took action on them, started growing his community, and lo and behold, after checking in on him and asking for updates and helping them over the last 2 months every single week, he finally pulled the trigger and joined my premium community, and I'm now able to help him that much more. So stop thinking about the short term and start looking at the long term. I can guarantee you, if you put in the input, the output will take care of itself. Now, lastly, something that has recently blown up is my high ticket offer. Now, in only 7 days, I was able to make $8,491. Now, the way that I did this was, of course, as I just mentioned, through a high ticket offer, which was done for you. Now, what I usually do is when people come on calls, I listen to what they want and I know then what the market wants. Now, what happened is that this 1 week, 2 weeks ago, I had a flood of calls and I had a lot of people that wanted me to do done for you setups of high level with Skool. And a few of them wanted me to migrate all of their CRM information, automations, funnels, so on and so forth, from other CRMs into Go High Level. And me being me, I tend to say yes to everything and figuring things out later. Well, although it worked very well for me to make a boatload of money in only 7 days, what happened was that I got absolutely stuffed with work, me being only one person right now. And what happened is that I completely stopped focusing on traffic. On top of that, I also went prematurely on a short holiday, which ended up absolutely killing my momentum. Now, that being said, I do highly recommend you guys start saying yes to everything and figuring things out later, because what will happen is that with the pressure of you having to deliver and you having started, things will start falling into place and all of a sudden you've made it work. Well, usually that's what happens with me. In this case, I quickly realized that I had bit more than I could chew. That being said, it was still a variable, profitable thing, and I will still be saying yes to other people. Despite that, I am currently testing out more done for you solutions and higher ticket offers to see what works and see what the market wants and develop using that strategy that I showed just above. Now, if you want the full breakdown of how I made the $8,491 in only 7 days, make sure to go ahead and press this video here because I give you the full breakdown over there.